All right, so I'm Chris from JOBLO.com, and it's really a pleasure to talk to you, man. I've been a huge fan of yours for a long time. I've been following your career for years.
Well, thanks. JOBLO, actually, that's one of my websites that I'll check out.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I got to ask you before we get started, one thing that kind of struck me about your career as of late is that you've started to play some more lighthearted roles as opposed to, I guess, not the thing that we would kind of expect, I guess, of a big action star. Like, you're an intimidating looking guy, and I think the darker roles is probably, something that was more expected. But it feels like in a lot of ways you're kind of experimenting a little bit with your own presence, trying to do stuff that's a little bit looser or a little bit more fun. And I was just wondering if you could talk about that a little bit, because Max Cloud definitely seems like a move in that direction to some degree.
I think Max Cloud is a big move in that direction. Yeah. Yeah, stuff like Accident Man, The Debt Collector 1 and 2, Avengement even. A lot more sort of comedic stuff in there. And those are movies that I was involved in behind the scenes, writing some of them as well. So that's a side of me that has always been there that I guess I have kept hidden because I guess it's a bit of a risk. You're not sure how people are going to take it. But it does remind me when I was a kid, and I was the kid that would get all the friends together to make the movie, the kid that made the home videos, the films, and that was me. And I would obviously make action movies because I was into that, but also do a lot of comedy sketches and things like that. A big fan of Monty Python and Blackadder and Bottom and things like that, English sort of humor. And that's become more prevalent these days. I mean, something like Max Cloud is completely out there and is very different to anything I've done before. And it did feel like a risk.
I mean, it's cool though. I think people are going to respond to it really well, though. Especially, I think people need a bit of a laugh right now, though, don't they?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, no, you just want to switch off from all this anxiety-inducing stuff and have a bit of fun for an hour and 40 minutes and enjoy this crazy romp.
I gotta ask you, did you guys shoot with Lashana Lynch before No Time to Die? Or after? She seems like what a presence.
Yeah, I guess she did that afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we got lucky there, didn't we?
Right.
Didn't realize we had the new 007 in our movie.
I know, it's so cool. It also seems like Martin Owen, though, is kind of an up and coming guy, though. I was just reading he's doing like an action movie version of Oliver Twist. It sounds pretty cool. Michael Caine is Fagin.
Yeah, is it an action movie version?
Yeah,
I know it was a modern
yeah.
sort of thing, yeah. Yeah, no, he's a smart guy, lots of ideas. Seems to be moving in the right direction, yeah.
When you shoot something like this, like Max Cloud, I mean, I don't know the industry that well in terms of action, but like, what kind of budget do you guys have to play with? Do you guys have like, I know you probably don't want to go into the nuts and bolts of it, but like,
it's not enough.
Not enough.
I mean, budget equates to time. How much time did we have? Not enough time. And one thing that was good about this film is because of what it is. I know that there was a couple of times maybe when a scene that was scheduled to be shot, there was no time to do it. But with this film, you could just say, well, we'll go to the 2D scrolling video game for that thing to get from A to B. So we'll tell that little bit in an animation, and then we're there. Yeah, so that helped out on this movie. But of course, normal movies, you don't have that luxury. It's difficult.
I like what you did with your voice in it too. It reminded me a bit of Ip Man 4, actually.
That must be my go-to American accent.
What's that? Yeah, no, it's good. I actually thought when you saw Ip Man 4, I was like, what is he doing with that's crazy. You didn't sound like you. I was like, I thought maybe you were dubbed, but I was like, that was congratulations. That's really cool, man.
That was the only thing that I asked for in my contract because it was a Chinese movie. You never know. It's like, no, you're not dubbing me. It's my own voice, or I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Nice. So I saw a really cool interview that you did with Steven Seagal not long ago, and he opened up in a way to you that I haven't seen him open up to anybody in any interview ever. And I was wondering, for you as an action hero, who are the guys, or who are the ones that you look up to? There's something about you, I find in some ways, I don't know if you're necessarily a fan of his, but you remind me a bit of Jean-Paul Belmondo, who I really like.
I don't know much about that guy?
Well, he was a great, I don't know if you know Belmondo, but he was a French action star in the 70s and the 80s. I'm in
Yeah.
Montreal and Quebec, so we got all of his movies. And
The Samurai was.
that was Delon. That was Delon, who was kind
Ah,
of like his,
I get them confused. Yeah, I don't know much about that guy.
so Belmondo was always kind of like, in Max Cloud and some of your lighter movies remind me a bit of him. Like he was kind of like, he wasn't afraid to be goofy, had like kind of like a wink and a smile, and seemed like he
Oh, I
was,
need to check out some of his work then.
but then could do dark things and did his own stunts. But anyway,
Oh, okay. All
who
right, good.
who
I'm definitely checking out his work.
for you, who's in the pantheon though, would you say?
What of the people that inspired me when I was? I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that Van Damme was a huge inspiration to me. I mean, I've gushed about him many times, but not just him. I mean, Bruce Lee and all those action stars. I looked up to them as a kid. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren, Chuck Norris,
And
Seagal.
you've worked with
Seagal. I think it was a good interview with Seagal because I approached those interviews as a fan
yeah.
of action cinema, like a geek, because that's what I am. And I think, obviously, I do that as a living as well, and I'm one of those guys now. But I can talk to them on a level of understanding.
Sure.
But also, I'm a fanboy with it as well. So I think that's.
Well, he respects you as a martial artist. You said Van Damme. Day of Reckoning, I thought, stacks up against any action movie that I've seen in the last 10 years or so. Like that was pretty.
Oh, man.
Universal Soldier movie with John Hyams, is it? Oh, man.
John Hyams, yes.
What a
He's
crazy
great director. Did you see his new film, Alone?
Alone? No, I haven't yet. I heard it was great, though. I heard it was really good.
He's a very good director.
He's a great director.
Yeah.
So, okay. One thing that I've always found that was cool about your career too was I loved the Boyka movies, and I love that he was the antagonist in the second movie, but people liked him so much he became the protagonist in the third film. I always thought that was great. Did you know that going in, or was that something that kind of came along, just happened to evolve?
Yeah, I mean, when we shot it, we wanted to make my character evil. Not evil, but we wanted him to be a good foil for Michael Jai White, who's, a freak of nature. I mean, look at him. So we basically based my character on Chuck Liddell in the way he looked. But because he was a martial artist, we instilled that sense of honor into him. Yeah. So that allowed us some leeway for what we could do with him in the future. But yeah, he was just received so well that when it came time to do number 3, and because the bad guy from number 1 had become the hero in number 2 anyway, we thought, let's go with that. But then we did it again with number 4 because, once I had the franchise, I was going to keep it.
Well, actually, Twitter question from one of your fans wants to know if there's going to be a 5th.
I'd love there to be one. I've got a great idea. Unfortunately, as wildly successful as they are, apparently they're only that successful on torrents.
Really? Oh, man.
It's one of those situations where the money guys are like, no, didn't make enough money. Hang on a minute. Everyone loves Boyka.
Yeah.
Well, they must have all downloaded it for free then. See you later.
Oh, that's terrible that people that's a thing. Well, that actually brings me to another question. It does feel now that action movies, for some reason, are given maybe ghettoized a bit more than they used to be. I kind of miss those days where you could go and see an action movie in the cinemas, and it was a legit film, and you can go. And it feels that now you can only really shoot stuff, that goes DTV. It seems like the market for action movies, just simple action movies, don't really exist anymore. And I'm nostalgic for the days of Canon film, I think.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I miss it as well. I miss the old action stars that were the real deal.
Yeah.
Few and far between now, because you can do anything inside the computer and you can do face replacement on stuntmen and, but there's something to be said for watching a film and knowing that that's the guy doing it. Or, even like a film like First Blood, where obviously it's a stuntman that did the jump into the trees, but he still did the jump into the trees, well, into an airbag. But, you see it's real. You get a different feeling from that rather than a cartoon diving through the air with fire in the background, and none of it's real. It's on a green screen. I miss that.
When you do something like Max Cloud, which is comedic, and then when you do something really dark, maybe, or more like the Boyka movies, do you kind of adjust your style of fighting? Do you change it up depending on the character? Because it seemed like you were kind of going for a more cartoonish vibe in Max Cloud, like a video game. kind of, as opposed to Boyka, where it's very kind of like down and dirty.
Well, the Boyka choreography is not realistic in any shape or form. You know, it's like a Hong Kong movie
Sure.
gone crazy. You know, we're doing stuff that doesn't make sense, but we are doing it for real. No wires. And that's the difference. Like, I don't like watching all the wire fu and all that rubbish.
Not a,
You know, but like, obviously the way we fight in Undisputed, you're never going to see that in the octagon.
no.
But because we're actually doing it, you buy it at a certain level. Something like Max Cloud, it's a sci-fi movie. It's out there. It's crazy. So we're having fun with it. And that's the tone of the movie. Something like Avengement, I toned down the outlandish action. It's not kung fu. It was very much like brawling, realistic. Just done another movie where it made it very realistic. And so it depends on the tone of the film.
One of the things also that I like about your movies is it seems like you've got a real crew that you work with, that you understand, that you guys kind of work together again and again and build like, you know how Jackie Chan used to have a stunt team and stuff. It feels like you got like the same kind of. I
wish I had my own stunt team of 10 men.
No, you're
great. All giving me ideas, all got my back. Yeah, I wish I had that with my 100-day shooting schedule.
Oh,
no,
man.
Don't think so. Well, I like to work with the same people again and again because we can hit the ground running. You know, we have tight schedules on the majority of movies I'm doing. So I don't want to be educating someone about how to do something. You know, I want the cameraman that's used to getting the action the way I want it. I want the fight coordinator. I want the director. We need to hit the ground running. Obviously, that's not always the case, and you don't want to always work with the same people. But
have you ever had any real close calls? Any bad scraps when you were shooting?
In what way?
Well, like a bad injury or something like that, or a fight.
Oh, bad injuries. Yeah, I've had plenty of bad injuries. Yeah, normally done to myself, by myself.
Oh no.
Yeah, like, you know, tearing a hamstring and twisting an ankle, and I'm getting over a bruised rib from the last film I just did.
What were you working on? What's your movie?
I did a movie with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, serious? Oh, wow.
Yeah, Castle Falls. We started it at the beginning of the pandemic, and now 6 months later, we were able to get back out there and finish it.
Well, that must have been a challenge, though.
It was difficult, yes. We lost at least 2 days out of the schedule, having to pay for these COVID tests.
Oh, man.
So that puts it into perspective because we don't have enough time anyway.
Something else I wanted to ask you too. A friend of mine wanted me to ask you this because you're always like, you're a pretty jacked guy, obviously. Do you stay in shape between movies, or do you kind of prep like right before you're going to go shoot something? Is it like, do you have to have a really rigid diet and a really rigid workout routine the whole way, like this part of your life at this point, or do you kind of get into a different kind of shape when you're going to go shoot something?
So the way it works, and this backfired on me in the pandemic because there was 6 months of no work. So hit me out. I finish a job and then I completely pig out for 2 or 3 weeks and just eat what I want. And I'll still be training, but
yeah,
I like my food, and my wife's a great cook, and I do enjoy cakes. But then there's a point where, okay, there's another film and it's in 3-4 weeks. You need to not be fat. Start dieting. But what happened with the pandemic is because there was no movie for 6 months, I just kept eating. I got pretty out of shape. So there you go.
What does Scott Adkins do in a pandemic, though? I got to know, like, what are you like watching movies and shows like the rest of us? What's that?
Interview Steven Seagal.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was good. What have you been watching? What do you watch? Do you watch movies and TV on your own, or what are you into these days? What do you think is cool?
Well, I've got kids that monopolize the TV, so Peppa Pig and you know, things like that. But you have to find a TV series that the wife likes. Otherwise, we're not going to watch it. Because, you know, so what did we watch? It was that TV show with Al Pacino.
Hunters.
It was on Amazon.
Yeah,
that was. I really enjoyed that.
Cool.
And I'm forgetting things, but I try to keep up with the films. My wife's not really into action films, so I have to watch that.
She's not into action?
No. I'll tell you what, a film I watched recently, and I didn't watch it for a while, and I watched it on the plane going over there, and I loved it, was The Gentleman.
Oh, sure. Guy Ritchie.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see you work with Guy Ritchie, actually, because you guys, I think you guys would do something awesome together.
Let him know.
If I ever do, if I ever interview him, I certainly will.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, continuing on in your career, what kind of movies do you want to make? What kind of movies really interest you? Because it feels like movies like Avengement seem like they're close to your heart, right? And maybe Debt Collector, it feels like your personality is really kind of imprinted on those films. And it feels like it's a transition that you've been making through your career. Each time I watch one of your movies, I always find that they're great and they're really well done, but they're very idiosyncratic and they kind of have like a very distinct style about them, which I think is cool, because when I was growing up, you would have the Seagal movies, which were very much one style, the Van Damme movies, which were very much another style, and you never put one in another one's movies because, well, no, that's a Seagal movie and no, that's a Van Damme movie. And I've noticed that about you, and that's what I really like, is that it's, oh, this is a Scott Adkins movie.
Oh,
so for you, what is a Scott Adkins movie? What is the kind of movie you want to make?
I'm really happy that you've said that. See, there's two sides to it. I like different genres, and I would like to try different things, but it's almost like I know that I've got this schedule and this amount of money, and that's why I've made a lot of the recent movies very grounded, very much in a realistic setting, because that's easier to film and point and shoot. Now, some of the martial arts films that I used to make in the past, we had a bit more time to do it.
Like the ninja movies?
The ninja movies, the Boyka movies, things like that. The action is so good in those because we had more time to do it. That time is not available to me now, so I've had to adjust and come up with a different style, which is what you're seeing in films like Avengement.
It kind of works, though, I think.
It does work. Now, my preference is a film like Avengement or Debt Collectors, which is a character study with an action film around it. So it's character-based action, and you're in it's a story about, a believable sort of scenario, and it's all about the character, and you're into it with him, and put the action in around that. That's what I mean. Accident Man is from my own brain, which is very much a different style of film. So that's something different there. I've got ideas for other genres as well, but I do like the character-based action film.
Cool. Well, I mean, I think it's a lost art, so it's great that you're doing them. I wish they did more stuff like that. As somebody, though, who I think you're developing a whole new audience on streaming, definitely. Because I mean, when I go to Netflix now and I see a Scott Adkins movie, it's got your face like front and center, and it's like Scott Adkins, And do you find that streaming for you has really been kind of a boost?
It's certainly let more people discover me and watch my work, because it's as easy as a click of a button, isn't it? Whereas before you'd have to go out and you'd have to seek it, and you're in the video shop, and maybe I won't. I've been thinking about that Scott Adkins film, but forget it, I'm going to get this one. But now it's there and you can put it on straight away. So I'm always saying to producers, got to get a good fight scene in the minutes. Got to hook that audience, because they're coming for the action anyway. You've got to grab them with that and keep them. And before they know it, they're into the movie. But yeah, I think it's helped. It's not made me earn more money.
Oh no.
It's not giving me any more bigger budgets, because they buy it after the fact, but it's certainly made a lot more people aware of who I am.
Well, I really would love to see you get like a big studio $100 million action movie one day. I hope it happens, man. I think you got, I mean, I think you do a great film.
Listen, man, what I do in 19, 20, 21 days, a lot of people can't even do in 70. So about time that somebody gave me a shot, to be honest.
I hope so, man. I really would love to see it. Thank you very much for talking to me. I'm a big fan, as always, and I always look forward to your movies. And it was a real treat talking to you.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Yeah, enjoyed it, mate.
If your friend can complete the game, you might actually have a chance of getting out of here.
The fate of the universe lies in the hands of Max Cloud.
Did I save the universe again?
You were fantastic.